know that you're going to have milestone markers along the way that you could check off. You're going to put the puzzle piece in. I like doing puzzles too. It's really a sense of accomplishment, and know it's a journey, because you're not the same person today as you're going to be tomorrow, and certainly not a year from now.
Take the time to remind yourself that it all starts inside yourself.
Wake up feeling stuck every day, then you gotta realize that it's all in your mindset. Read about the meditation, you go get around to it, you just haven't had the time. Yeah, I bet. Best thing that you could invest in is you. Could have the results or could have the excuse. Only one life, so take care of what you choose. And I ain't preaching, I'm just telling you the truth. Wake up.
Hello, and welcome to Bombastik Broadcasting with Kat, Kim, and Sue.
As you know, here at Bombastik Broadcasting, we believe in shining the light on all things bombastic and illuminating the folks who are stoking the fire in their souls, one podcast at a time. And it has been so fun to highlight and showcase the amazing coaches from all over the world that are going to be at the Global Conscious Parenting Summit, coming to you online August 8th. It's free, which is hard to believe. You need to be there, whether you're a parent or not. It really is for everyone. So today we have one of the fabulous coaches, Janet Philbin. So Janet is a whole bunch of things, whole mess of wonderful. She's a psychotherapist, hypnotherapist, coach, author. Her book is called Show Up for Yourself, Guide to Inner Awareness and Growth. And one of the things I love that I've seen in your writing is you really are passionate about connecting with and reclaiming your inner child. And that is the path to connecting with your child.
Yes.
How cool is that? So welcome. Yay, you're here.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here with all of you. Super excited.
That's great, Janet. We're really excited to have you too. And I saw on your website a quote from Anaïs Nin. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but we'll roll with it. And the day came when the risk to remain tapped in a bud was greater than the risk it took to blossom. And that kind of blew my mind. So can you tell us how you got started in this business?
Well, I got started in this business young. I went right to graduate school from college and got my MSW and became a social worker. And I was not doing deep work. I was doing important work. I was working in healthcare in New York City at the beginning of the AIDS epidemic. And I was really engrossed in the field of death and dying. And it was work I loved. It was work I always loved. My passion at the time was to work with the elderly. So I eventually got into that. And again, found myself, of course, working in the field of death and dying, and became the hospice social worker at the skilled nursing facility I worked at. And while I was there, I got introduced to guided visualization by the recreation department director. And that was like 1994, 95-ish. So I'm really dating myself. It was a long time ago. And guided visualization really wasn't a thing people were talking about. But I began using some of what I was learning with my clients, the residents of the nursing home, and they were telling me that it was helping them. And I thought, well, there must be something to this. And I just kept following along in that pathway, as far as beginning to adopt a more holistic path to healing. And eventually, after I had my second child, I started my own private psychotherapy practice and began working with people going through infertility, because that was part of my personal journey. And again, I was pushed into the field of death, dying, loss, and bereavement, because that's really what infertility is so much about.
Wow.
And wound up becoming a hypnotherapist by chance, finding out about a training program very close to where I live, and did that. And that's what opened me up to inner child work. That's what was my introduction. Oh my goodness. Introduction to, wow, what's happening in our life now is actually informed by what happened in our life then. And if it goes unhealed, we keep reenacting it.
Oh,
And that's when I started incorporating a lot of what I was doing, the meditations, visualization, some energy work, my traditional psychotherapy training, plus hypnosis, until I learned conscious parenting 11 or so years ago. It was, um, it's really just been a ride, and I've followed it where it's led me, which has been to right here.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What a
Yes,
wonderful
gorgeous.
guided journey of your footsteps and how it takes you. I mean, I think that's inspirational for people to hear that kind of thing. You know, you didn't just end up at A to B, but your story of how you got to all these places and all the things you've learned on the way. That's amazing in itself, Janet. Very,
Oh,
very cool. Um,
yeah.
can before we move on, it's funny. Psychotherapist is one of those words that I think we all think we know, but there's so much around it. Can you distinguish what, right? What that, because it could be a scary word, right?
It can be. And a
100%.
lot of times I won't even introduce myself as a psychotherapist because it is intimidating. I prefer to introduce myself as a social worker and a
It
licensed
has the
clinical
word
social
psycho
worker.
in it. I think that's why.
What's that?
It has the word psycho in it. I think
Yeah,
that's
okay,
why.
that's a good point. Yeah, that might be a Kim. Um, but in order to be a psychotherapist, you really have to be aware of your own stuff. But so many people can be a psychotherapist. You could be a licensed clinical social worker, a licensed professional counselor, a marriage and family therapist, um, a psychologist. It's a method and a mode of being with people in therapy and understanding there's a psychological process going on. So it seems like this big daunting word, which is why I don't usually, like if I'm just talking to someone, I don't say I'm a psychotherapist. I say I'm a social worker or a licensed clinical social worker because I've always been very proud of being a social worker. But out there in the world, you know, a form, psychotherapy has a little bit more umph to it, as the way you responded to it. Well, this person must really be trained and know something.
Mhm.
So
Sure.
I do use that as well, but I don't think of myself in that way.
No, thank you for unpacking that, kind of helping people become more like taking the fear out of the unknown in some ways, because you are so many, you know, of these beautiful, intelligent, compassionate things. And just the guided visualization, I have to ask about that really quick, because that that led you into is that part of the hypnotherapy? Do you have a moment to show us how that looks without going into it too deeply?
Yeah. Okay. I'll talk about hypnosis a little bit because that ties into inner child, which is what I'm
Okay.
talking about in the
Okay.
summit. So
Thank you. Thank
yeah.
you.
So hypnosis incorporates the way I do hypnosis. Not every hypnotherapist is going to practice in the same way, incorporate guided visualization, because all hypnosis is self hypnosis. But in order to get into a hypnotic state, you have to be in a meditative state. So hypnosis is a deeper state of meditation where we are accessing the unconscious mind, moving the conscious mind out of the way so we can talk to the unconscious mind directly, because every experience we ever had in our life is stored in the unconscious. But the amazing thing about the unconscious mind is it has no sense of time. And since it has no sense of time, if you are with an elderly parent or if you are with your 5-year-old child and you get triggered, which just means something inside of you gets poked and woken up and we react, we are not reacting with the wisdom of our adult self. Our inner 5 or 10-year-old raises their hand and goes, "Oh, I know how to do this," and reacts. And we get stuck in the pattern. We get stuck in the loop of the way the conversations and relationships persist because no one ever went back to help you. Let's rescue that 5-year-old who's always reacting. And so that inner child, whether the inner child is 5, 15, or 25, it doesn't matter. It could be an injury that happened to me yesterday at 56. That part still needs healing. So we could call it inner child or we can just call it younger self. I think the two, for the most part, are interchangeable, except when we think inner child, a lot of people couch that as that those injuries happened age 7 or younger, which traditionally is true, but someone can have a big traumatic event that happens at age 20. And maybe they had a perfectly smooth life until that point. And that's the spot that you need healing. So we use guided visualization, meditation to relax the mind and body, to get the conscious mind out of the way so we can talk to the unconscious and get to what's really motivating these patterns for in persisting in your life. I hope that makes sense.
That was so
100%.
good, Janet. And thank you for sometimes, words have power that have been used for a long time, like inner child, right? And I think people sometimes dismiss it like, oh, foo-foo la-la, or, but how you just broke it down opens people up to what that work really is in a very logical way, really. So thank you. Thank you. That was beautiful.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm glad I made it understandable, because it's sort of this word that people don't even know if it's a real thing, right? Because an inner child isn't tangible,
Right.
but an inner child is a part of us that lives within us. And that part's whole when we come into form, when we're born, it's whole and perfect. But it gets hurt. We get hurt when we're in our families of origin because we have wounded inner children raising us, right? Unconscious parents raising us. So in order to survive, we develop coping skills. Oh, if I'm quiet in my crib and don't ask for anything, then I'm going to get loved. If I'm a straight A student, I don't get yelled at. If I do all the dishes, my sister doesn't get hit. Whatever it is, we develop these coping skills. And we learn them at the time. And we say, oh, this works. I survived. So now we're grown up and we're still using these same coping skills. It doesn't work so well. And we don't know why. So
And we don't know anything else.
Exactly. That's where there needs healing. So when you bring up that Anise Nin quote, that's why I love it so much. And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was greater than the risk it took to blossom. That means I have to be braver than I ever was before. And I have to let go, be willing to let go in order to not be in pain anymore, because staying this tight, that's actually keeping me in pain.
Yeah.
When I'm brave enough and can let go and blossom, I don't have to be in pain anymore. That's why I love that quote.
Beautiful. It's really hard to, you think about that pain as of going through, walking the steps through your inner child wounds as being such a huge, dark, terrifying sort of process, at least to me. But then when you start walking, it's actually not that bad. And then when you get through a little piece of your puzzle, you feel like the world's lifted off your shoulders. So I'm just saying that to everybody out there who's a little bit afraid of looking that beast in the eye. It seems like it's going to come and chew your head off, but it's actually there to wave a magic wand of joy over your head.
Let you
And it may not be joyful. It's going to be painful.
Yes.
You will feel the pain, and that's okay, because we have to go through. People don't want to go through. How can I get around this? How can I bypass this? What else can I do? Anything but. It doesn't work. We have to go through.
We would have never been born if we had the choice to go through or not, right? Thank God that decision was made for us, or we were forced into it. And I think even life does that sometimes, like it takes, you see people that are in all kinds of pain, even physical pain, it starts to manifest all over you. And you're like, just one step, just take one step, which is why we're so happy to illuminate people like you, because there really is a right fit for every single person. If there's somebody out there that thinks like, I can't do it, that it's not for me, la, la, la. There is someone out there for you that's going to help you make that first step. And even if it hurts, it's going to hurt a lot more to not move. You got to go through it.
Exactly. That's what usually pushes people into therapy or coaching or hypnosis, because I can't do the pain anymore. It's what pushed me into therapy when I was in graduate school. My child developmental psychology class was waking up all my childhood trauma, and I couldn't function in graduate school. I had to find a therapist. And that's what started my healing. I didn't even realize what I was carrying. I didn't know I was so angry at certain family members. I didn't get it. So
You're
we
so
had
lucky you were
to.
so young.
Yeah, I mean, luckily I listened to myself, but if I wasn't in graduate school, if I wasn't in that class, and if it wasn't interfering, I would have just ignored it. So people do ignore it. They push it away until they can't anymore.
And you were aware and cared enough to see your dysfunction and not medicate it with drugs or alcohol, because I know that's how a lot of people end up in those places too, So, oof, good stuff. Good stuff, Janet. And look at all the people you're helping. So
That is amazing.
what's going to be your highlight that you're going to talk about at the summit?
So what I really want to highlight at the summit is helping people understand that their inner child needs attention, right?
Yes.
Because we can't connect with our children if we're not connected with ourselves. If I'm constantly denying myself, then I'm constantly depleting myself. What do I have left to give to my child? If I'm constantly yelling, I'm not connecting. If I'm isolating, I'm not connecting. If the other person is always wrong, I'm not connecting. So I want to invite people, tune in, pause, pay attention to the inner landscape. Who inside of you is upset? What would that younger person need in order to feel better? And take care of you first. And we always know this, right? We've all heard, the oxygen mask metaphor. And it seems cliche, but it's true. It's so important, because there is no way you can connect with your child effectively if you're not connected with yourself. And that could be as simple as a breath. My youngest is 20. My other two children are in their going into their late 20s at this point. But my youngest is 20 and is still in college. And to this day, when she calls me from her room, I want to go like this, and because it's interrupting something I'm doing, right? So instead, what do? Okay. Then I can walk down the hall and open her door and say, yes, what do you need? Listen to her, and I close the door. And okay. And I can go back, right? Because just doing that breath takes care of me. Just doing that breath helps me recognize, okay, I was in the middle of something. Yes, sure, I could get triggered or upset because she's 20. Come out of your damn room, but she doesn't. I can walk down the hall. I can meet her where she's at, find out what's going on, and then I can come back to taking care of me. But if I went in there, what? You're interrupting me? Well, I just created disconnection. So just taking that breath, okay, I'm going to take care of me. But I know how to do that. I've been doing this a long time, but it took me a long time to learn it. So people need to first be aware. If we want to have fun with our children, if we want to play, we can't play if we were never allowed to as children. I had a client once, she had parents that couldn't tolerate the mess. So she could never have toys anywhere or a mess. This person now wound up having children kind of close in age and young, and cannot tolerate the mess, could not tolerate the mess of play. So we had to go back through hypnosis, a combination of hypnosis and coaching. I do that with people sometimes, and heal that inner child who didn't know they could play. so that now in the present, they can play with the children in front of them. And it's okay if the playroom is a mess. It's a playroom. Right?
What it's there
And that
for.
was intolerable because the adult couldn't play, because the inner child couldn't play. And we may know that our parents were always strict, but we don't know the impact that has on the now. So we need to connect. We need to find that place within us that can play, because that's where we're going to make the connection with our kids, when we connect with ourselves. So it seems cliche, but it really isn't. It's sounds simple, but it's challenging because it's very conscious work. It's the work of a conscious parent. It's very conscious work. I hope that wasn't too long of an answer to your question.
I'm just
was
in love
beautiful.
with everything you're saying. I truly am. It's so great. Yeah, I bet that's a common one too. You know, it's funny, like when you say, and I love how simple you make it. We forget breath. I mean, the biggest thing we take for granted, right? Water and breath, probably. Wow, that was really a good one. Yeah,
So
definitely.
do you think there's any sort of, you know, grandparents come in a different role and they tend to play more with the children? And so obviously it's time constraints and all that kind of stuff that parents don't have. But do you think there's any sort of circle there?
A circle of
Influence, maybe?
or
you know, just-
grandparents more conscious, maybe because they've had more chance to breathe away from the parenting
I
situation.
don't think grandparents are necessarily more conscious unless they've done the work to heal their own stuff. But I think there's no pressure on the grandparent. They're not ultimately raising the child. So even if the child has a temper tantrum, the grandparent doesn't feel responsibility or shame that it's my fault this child has a tantrum, which is what parents feel.
Right.
So they can just flow with it, right? And so if the grandparent is not the primary caregiver and they're coming in to babysit, or they come over to play with the children, they can just be the grandparent. So the dynamic in the relationship is different. They're not replaying their own patterns. They get to just be the grandparent. I've seen that in my own life with my grandparents, and even the way my mother was with my children and my nieces and nephews when they were little.
Was different to how she was with you.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. My mother was, her nickname was Grandma Cheese because she came over and the kids had a cheese party with Grandma. I didn't have a cheese party with my mother.
I never had a cheese party.
No cheese allowed. No cheese for you.
Did that answer your question, Spot?
yes, yes, it does.
Okay.
What a great topic that is too, because even how you said the shame and the responsibility, I mean, that it really is, I think, that underlying feeling that parents feel on the unconscious, maybe until you bring that word to light, because it is, we feel like it's this heavy responsibility. The greatest thing I've learned from this wonderful coaching, these showcasing of this global coaching summit and listening to all these different parenting coaches. When I have one child, she just turned 18, but when she was born, I remember, everybody telling me, well, it's not about you anymore. Like it ever really was, but it's not about you anymore. And now you have this other person, that's kind of here to replace you. So, good luck with that, which is so funny because all of these conscious parenting messages, the base really is take care of yourself. Like you exist. Don't lose yourself or you're not going to have anything to give, which is so logical that it makes me crazy that, this whole 18 years, I've just been like, you have to be selfless. You have to be completely responsible. You have to course correct everything to the point where you lose your own daily needs sometimes. So I love that you're giving that message. I hope I said it right. That's actually, that's how I interpret it anyway. But I love that you're giving that message to the parents that it's not selfish to take care of yourself so you can take care of your child.
Yeah, it's self-care. That's why I wrote my book. That's exactly why I wrote my book, because we must take care of us first. We have to, because then you actually are able to be better in all your relationships, right? Because not everyone's a parent. Sometimes the relationship we need to feel better in is our partnership. Maybe it's at work. Maybe it's with friends. Maybe it's with siblings or parents. It doesn't have to be a parent-child relationship that needs improvement, right? It's the relationship with the self. Whatever is unhealed within you is getting acted out within your relationships on varying levels.
Right.
And it's a journey, not a destination. So for any of your listeners, just are like, I can't do that. It's too hard. It's too daunting. There's no destination. It's a journey. I am proof of concept. It's been, I don't know, 38 years. I'm bad at math, but something like that since I went to therapy for the first time. And I'm still on the journey. And that is okay.
Yes. Each little puzzle piece of the journey is just a celebration, right?
That's right, Kim. Yeah.
I like when Kim references the puzzle piece too, because for our listeners who maybe are goal-oriented people, right? That I love the journey, not the destination concept, but for some people it might make them be like, ooh, but I'm in this for the destination, you're goal-based. What do you say to them about, hopping on, like, what is the goal when you're on the journey, or can you frame it for them that they're not so scared to take that first step? What is the goal?
The goals are markers along the journey. Like, when you go on a hike in the woods.
Yep.
And you're looking for the mile markers. Oh, now I'm at mile 1. Well, that's behind me. I did that. Now I'm at mile 2. That's behind me. I did that. So that's the journey. You're going to reach milestones and stay on the journey. My goals now at almost 58 years old are really different than my goals at 20 or 30 for my own personal self. I'm not talking about professional goals. I'm talking about for me, for Janet. What do I want? So we have to be open to all of it, because when we are open to all of it, then the door to opportunity opens for us. So maybe one of your listeners is really ready for their next opportunity, and maybe they hear this and this is the door, or one of your other interviews was the door. If we're not open to opportunities, the door is there and we don't see it. We don't go through the threshold. Once we go through the threshold, we can say, is it for me? Can I peek through? Maybe I take another step. Maybe I take another step. Who do I find in this doorway that's going to help me to the next door? So be goal-oriented loosely. Know that you're going to have milestone markers along the way that you could check off. You're going to put the puzzle piece in. I like doing puzzles too. It's really a sense of accomplishment. And know it's a journey, because you're not the same person today as you're going to be tomorrow, and certainly not a year from now.
Thank you. Right. And it's so much better than sitting on the couch, right? That we guarantee.
That we guarantee.
100%.
A lot of interesting action. Well, Janet, here at Bombastik Broadcasting, we like to say that a rising tide lifts all boats. So just tell us a little bit about the other things that you offer. We definitely know about the conscious parenting, and you obviously have one-on-one, right?
Yes. So I do. I do one-on-one parent coaching and hypnotherapy with folks. I also am a certified trainer for the American Board of Hypnotherapy, and once a year I offer training to people along with my colleagues who want to become certified hypnotherapists, and that is usually run starting at the end of January, early February every year for 4 months. one weekend a month. I have my book, Show Up for Yourself, that anyone can get. There are a couple of courses on my website that people can access. And the Conscious Parenting Coaching Institute, which is Dr. Shefali's coaching institute, of which I'm on her team and help support the students during the cohort when they're there. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, that's it from Bombastic Broadcasting. Be messy, be inquisitive, be all in with loose goals.
Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. So much more in this world that you can do. Wake up. Every little thing in this life that you're going through don't mean a thing. Wake up. You keep shining. You keep grinding. Wake up. All is aligning. All you gotta do. Wake up. My man Mo said that the reason that the world fucked up is cause everybody lazy. Positivity is corny to them, but they still gon' complain about the bad going on. Shit crazy. So I just had to drop a little project. I don't know what the object is, but this feels good. If you too hood for the good vibe, sorry I ain't got nothing for you. Why should I?
You shouldn't. We out here doing the things that y'all wouldn't. Life could be a sweet ride, proof is in the pudding. These guys with the weak vibes, I'll show them where to put it. Down bad, I was looking for the answer. Mind all mad, taking over like a cancer. Canceled the sub plans, came from up above. Told me everything but doing, showing love, and I gotta
wake up. So much more in this world that you can do. Wake up. Every little thing in this life that you're going through don't mean a thing. Wake up. You keep shining. You keep grinding. Wake up. All is aligning. All you gotta do. Wake up.
I've been getting so high, head up in the clouds. I don't ever wanna come down, but I gotta
wake up.
Ain't enough time to be down. Bust a smile, cause it's yet another day that I'm allowed to
wake up.
Feeling blessed to be alive, man. Not long till we thriving. Take the time to remind yourself that it all starts inside yourself. Most.
Wake up feeling stuck every day, then you gotta realize that it's all in your mindset. Read about that meditation, you go get around to it, you just haven't had the time. Yeah, I bet. Best thing that you could invest in is you. Could have the results or could have the excuse. Only one life, so take care of what you choose. And I ain't preaching, I'm just telling you the truth. Wake up, so much more in this world that you can do. Wake up, every little thing in this life that you're going